Good evening, and welcome to tonight's performance of 12 Dreams. My name is Barton Faulks. I'm one of two directors here. And in walking down the aisleway over here, I realized I really didn't prep anything to say in tonight's opening speech. But my mind's racing because I want to say something. I have actually been doing UIL One Act play since I played Michael in Beauty and the Beast in 1976. That's a long time doing UIL One Act play. I've had the privilege of either being the technical director or the director for 22 years. What a milestone. UIL is a very strange beast, and I can call it that. You never know what a judge is going to like or what they don't like, but we had the right idea this year, spearheaded by Ethan, who is our stage manager. The attitude was, we're doing it for the art, not for the competition. And this show, I think, really demonstrates that. These kids have done an incredible job, and I'll always be proud. I don't care wherever we went with it. But tonight, these kids have really made me proud, and I look forward to seeing the show. I hope you do too, of 12 Dreams by James Lapine. Thank you so much.
May you please ask the question again? I am not a religious person. At least, religious in the sense that you use the word. However, I believe that religion is a great link to the past. What is interesting about Christmas, and what is so often forgotten, is that Christmas comes at the darkest time of the year. The Christmas tree and the decorations of lights symbolizes the lighting up of darkness. I like to think I make a profession of lighting up the darkness. We must shut off our overly trained intellects and get in touch with our other parts. The American Indian knows to think with the heart, not the head. When the Pueblo Indian meets a stranger, for instance, they ask, "What animal is this?" There is great difficulty in deciding what animal to assign me. One day, I had to climb a ladder to enter one of their structures. When I did this, a great shout came forth. "A bear! A bear!" They thought I was a bear!
Your visit has been much too long in the coming.
I hope I haven't intruded on your holiday in any way.
On the contrary, you're making it a more festive occasion. Another glass, please.
Are you sure you haven't had enough?
This automobile certainly abounds with the Christmas spirit.
We've Emma and Jenny to thank for that.
Daddy doesn't believe in Christmas.
Well, not exactly, Emma.
How do you feel today's lectures went, Professor?
Why, I thought they went very well. My theories are well documented. Tell me your position again, Mr. Putnam.
I'm a resident at the clinic. Charles is my advisor.
He worked very hard to get you this speaking engagement. It was quite a battle. Emma, isn't it time for you to be in bed?
How long have you known Daddy, Professor?
Emma, for a very long time. Your daddy was a fine student of mine.
Professor, that business today about the Indians. Dr. Winston contends that your notions lie within the realm of anthropology.
Dr. Putnam!
He called it a notion?
You know, some of the faculty were just saying that you were spitting those tales to stir up controversy.
Putnam! What is it with you? I specifically asked that we not discuss the lectures.
It's quite all right, Charles, really.
We're thrilled to have you here. You'll have to excuse me, Professor. I clearly didn't understand the boundaries of our conversation. Good night, Emma.
Good night.
Good night, Charles. Thank you for inviting me. I'm sorry.
Emma, I bet you got a lot of nice things for Christmas. What was your favorite?
I guess this bird book.
Emma gave some pretty wonderful gifts, too.
There's a little package under the tree with your name on it.
That wasn't necessary.
Professor, your things are in the guest room, and I prepared a light supper for you if you wish.
Oh, Professor, thank you. Daddy, Jenny, look! A German teddy bear.
Emma, are you going to be joining us?
Emma has already had her supper. Up to bed, young lady.
Sorry I'm late, Doctor. Trouble with my driver.
Mrs. Trowbridge.
Now don't you start up with me, Doctor. I always pay you for the full hour.
Yes, but...
It has been such a difficult week. The holidays and all. I don't know how a person is supposed to put up with the pressure. Never knowing what to buy, how to please who.
Mrs. Trowbridge, please. Now, what was Christmas like at your house as a child?
This one is nice.
Uh-huh.
Where'd you get this one? Is it new?
Jenny gave it to me for Christmas.
It's ugly.
I know, but I have to pretend I like it.
Dolls are boring,
Brittany,
Emma.
stop it!
Don't you think they're stupid? I mean, after you've dressed them, what are you supposed to do?
I like to make up stories about them.
Do you still have that book of your father's?
Uh-huh. I haven't had a chance to return it.
Then let's go look at it.
No, Brindy, not now.
Why not?
I'm afraid Jenny might find out.
Emma, come on. You like it as much as I do. I know you do.
Can you please be more specific as to why you were happy at Christmas?
I was a child. Isn't one always happier as a child, especially at Christmas?
No, not necessarily.
I'm not happy now because of my health. And you doctors are no help. We pay you a fortune and we're never relieved of our pain.
Mrs. Trowbridge,
My driver is waiting.
you seem you feel you have to run away.
I shall see you on Tuesday, and you shall tell me how I am.
Mrs. Trowbridge.
Emma, I love that marvelous bird book you got for Christmas. Emma, I love that marvelous bird book you got for Christmas.
Come over here and give me a kiss.
Emma,
You see, Emma, people come into dreams, and I tell them what they mean, but sometimes
Come over
I
here and
can't
give me a
tell.
kiss.
Emma,
Come give me a kiss, Emma. You're such a beautiful little girl. Come over here and give me a kiss. Come here,
Wake
little
up,
kiss.
wake up, get dressed. You have your hands, wake up.
Wake up.
You have your dance clothes. It's time to wake up, Emma. It's a lovely day outside. It's time to wake up and get dressed.
Hitler, Mussolini, even your Roosevelt. They unite their people by appealing to the lowest common denominator. There's a desperation for order in the world. People want to be told what to do.
I know what you mean. Well, look who's here. Ready for bed?
No,
Do you mind if we continue our doctor talk?
not as long as I can listen.
I'm sure you'll find it fascinating.
Emma, I think it's time for you to be in bed.
Do I have to?
Emma.
Just 15 more minutes, please, Daddy.
Emma, please.
Good night, Doctor. Good night, Daddy.
She's wonderful, Charles.
Thank you.
She looks more and more like Marjorie.
Yes. Here, I want you to look at something. You'll appreciate this. For Christmas, other children buy their fathers a tie or slippers. And Emma, like a good psychiatrist child, makes me a book of her dreams.
And damned if they're not the most peculiar assortment I've ever seen. Here, listen to this. Once upon a time, there was a bad boy who threw mud at all the people walking by. And then suddenly, everybody became bad to me.
How very odd. Did you have these dreams right after Marjorie's death?
I don't believe so. It's been 3 years.
Has it been that long?
Emma has made the adjustment better than I.
If I may say so, you seem a bit preoccupied this visit.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be.
May I look at this?
Yes, I wish you would. I cannot find a personal association in the lot.
Emma, I think it's time for you to be in bed.
Jenny, do you think anyone lives in space?
No, I don't.
But isn't that where heaven is?
No one's sure where heaven is.
I don't think Daddy believes there is a heaven.
Why not?
When I told him you said that was where Mommy was, he said you didn't have the information.
Bed.
Okay. Jen, did my mother dress like Miss Banton? Or Mrs. Trowbridge?
Who's Mrs. Trowbridge?
The fancy lady that visits Daddy.
And how do you know her name?
I heard it one day.
Emma, you know you're not to play near your father's study when he's working.
I'm sorry.
No. She did not dress like either of them. She was a very stylish woman in her way.
And what did Mother die from?
She got very sick and just died.
Did God make her die?
I think you should have this discussion with your father. Now, stop with your endless questions. One thing's for sure, you have your father's mind. Say your prayers.
Yes, what is it?
I think it would be a good idea if you had a little talk with Emma.
About what?
Her mother. About her death. She often brings it up and I feel uncomfortable speaking about it.
All right. She rarely mentions it to me.
Well, I tell her to speak with you, but it's no surprise she doesn't.
I beg your pardon.
Excuse me for saying this. You're not comfortable with the child when it comes to words. With your friends from university, plenty to say, but I hardly see having any exchange with Emma. That's all.
I feel that Emma and I communicate very well, thank you. Fine. I will discuss religion with the child. Though if you didn't make such an issue of it, I can't imagine she would be quite so fascinated with the subject.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
First position, arms, stomachs in, shoulders down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4,
Miss
and...
Banton, I have a question.
Yes, Rindy, what is it?
Why aren't you married?
Oh, what a question to ask. Second position. I was married, but I'm not married anymore.
You were married? Well, what happened?
It just didn't work out. Now, come on, girls.
Were you unhappy?
It doesn't make me very happy to be talking about it right now.
I'm sorry. It's just, you're so pretty. Emma and I think you're the prettiest woman we've ever seen.
Well, thank you. Fifth position.
You'd make a great mother, right, Emma?
Rindy, you're embarrassing me.
Life is a bit more complicated than you imagine, Rindy. Just stay the way you are. Now, let's begin, ladies. Are you ready to be wonderful little swans?
Uh-huh.
There were moments when Mama and Papa disagreed, but Mama always deferred to Papa.
Did they ever get angry with you?
Let's see. On occasion, they did not approve of some of my friends, like the time I had a crush on a very handsome young man. Father certainly did not approve of that.
How did you meet him?
He worked for Father.
And what happened?
Nothing. It ended.
How did that make you feel?
How did this make you feel? How did that make you feel? What has this to do with my unhappiness, Doctor? Isn't that what you're to deal with?
There is a connection between your past and present feelings. In our first visit, we discussed your inability to see things through. Let's find out where this impatience has its root.
I see your child when I come here. She sits in your parlor for hours, always absorbed in something. And here I am, a woman of, well, many years more than your daughter, and I can't sit still to read the evening's paper. Just the other night, we went to the opening of the ballet. The curtain had not been up more than 15 minutes, and I had been hit by attacks.
Try to describe these attacks again.
I told you I can't. They're like a nightmare. The most horrible and painful feeling one has ever experienced.
Tell me where you feel this pain. Please.
My head. My back aches so. And pain in the pelvic region. What time do you have, Doctor?
We still have time left.
No, I really must run.
Mrs. Trowbridge.
Oh, I'm so late. You're always late. Now you just sit down. Well, of course I'm late. I'm nuts. What do you expect? You have to stop being nuts and be healthy. I can't be healthy because my head hurts. So why does it hurt? I got a headache. What kind of headache? A migrant headache. What did it feel like? What did it feel like? Questions, questions, questions. It felt like my head was full of water. Your head was full of water? My head was full of water and a drop fell out. Then a drop and then a drop till my head was like a spout. My head was full of water and a drop fell out. Then a drop and then a drop till my head was like a spout. My head was full of water and a drop fell out. Then a drop and then a drop until my head was like a spout.
Hello, Emma.
Father's upstairs. He should be down in a minute. Would you like to see my dolls?
Certainly. What's her name?
She doesn't have one.
She doesn't have a name? That's not very fair.
The world's not always fair.
Who told you that?
Jenny.
And do you believe everything Jenny tells you?
Well,
Mr. Putnam! Emma, upstairs for a bath, young lady. I would appreciate your knocking before you enter this house.
Oh, I did not. Then I walked in.
Dr. Hackett will be here in a moment. Would you care to wait in the study?
I'm fine.
Do you have any children?
No, I'm not married.
Yet you enjoy playing with dollies.
Good heavens! Sit down, please. I was very disturbed, of an unfortunate incident at the clinic earlier.
Oh, no. You haven't called me here because of that nonsense?
What happened?
Manic depressive woman. Her mother died recently. I was on rounds with Winston when she insisted on answering each of my questions with a wisecrack.
And?
And I told her she seemed very happy for someone who had just lost her mother.
And?
And the woman reacted hostily and had to be restrained by an attendant. Winston blew up because I made the remark.
Well, don't you think he was justified?
No! Obviously, yes, and it was a mistake. But Winston completely blew the incident out of proportion.
You made a serious error.
And you've never made one, right?
Stop trying to turn this conversation away from yourself. You're too aggressive. You can't expect results that fast. As your advisor and as your friend, I suggested to improve your attitude. Now.
My attitude will improve and the therapist leave me alone with the patient.
Good night!
I'm sorry, are you alright?
Yes, I think so.
Who are you?
Eleanor Banton. I'm Emma's dance instructor. She left some things at school and I happen to be in the neighborhood.
Miss Banton?
Oh, yes. Emma left these at school and I happen to be in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Can I help you, Mr. Putnam?
Oh no, good night, ladies.
That man has a few loose screws, if you ask me.
Oh,
Well, it was very thoughtful of you to bring these by. I'd ask in, Miss Benton.
oh, really? Thank you. I must be getting home.
Miss Banton, are you sure you're alright?
Yes, I'm quite sure.
You're shy, aren't you?
Oh, well, I prefer to think of myself as quiet, but...
I tend to be noisy.
Yes! Who are you?
Sandy Putnam, I'm a resident at the clinic. Charles is my advisor.
Oh, well, how nice.
Excuse my awkwardness. I'm actually quite shy too. That accounts for my never shutting up when I'm nervous. Dancing seems exotic. I don't really mean exotic. I mean interesting. Do you find it interesting? Obviously, you wouldn't do it. Come to think of it, a lot of people do what they don't find interesting. I don't dance. See, I never really have danced.
Oh, well, that is just unbelievable.
I tend to read, you see.
Oh, well, dancing is very simple, Mr. Putnam.
Simple, I don't think for me.
So I see you've brought back Emma's book.
Yes, I was very curious on how they struck me.
My first reaction was that these were the dreams of a child approaching puberty. Emma's always been fascinated with animals.
These dreams are not about animals. These dreams are about destruction.
Like the one about her being dangerously ill. The birds coming at her and covering her completely.
You've memorized them, haven't you?
Memorize them? I dream of them.
I too found myself drawn to them. The notions of death and rebirth. They suggest some sort of genesis.
So you think the dreams are tied to Marjorie's death?
No. These dreams revolve around destruction and restoration.
Your point?
Well, they seem to foretell the death of the dreamer. Look, Charles, this is all mere conjecture. Remember, you don't always agree with my theories. I am your friend. This little book has come to us for a reason. I'm sure we'll find an explanation. Happy New Year's, Charles. Thank you for sharing this with me. And don't concern yourself about Emma. She's fine, really.
You'd be very proud of me, Doctor. Even George was remarking how calm I've been of late. I guess our visits have been paying off. Don't you just love spring?
Does spring have any special meaning to you?
Lighter clothes. Oh, I just feel sensational. I went shopping in Boston yesterday, and I found the most gorgeous wrap.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Trowbridge. Our time is up.
You're kicking me out?
Well, not exactly. There will be someone else here shortly.
You see other people? Well, of course you do. George says you've been quite a help. I haven't had an attack in ages.
That's always good news.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Well, see you on Tuesday. And thank you.
Hello,
Hello. What's your name?
Emma.
Hello, Emma. That's a lovely name.
Thank you. What's your name?
Dorothy.
that my friends call me Dottie. May I join you?
Jenny would be very cross if she saw me sitting and talking with you.
And why would she be cross?
She doesn't like me to speak with Father's patients. I'm really supposed to be out inside, but it was so pretty out and...
Yes, it is pretty, isn't it? Well, I certainly wouldn't want to get you in any trouble.
No, Dottie, it's okay.
Are you certain?
Why are you unhappy?
Who says I'm unhappy?
People who see my father are unhappy, and then he talks to them a lot and makes them feel better.
That's simple, huh?
You have such pretty clothes. I love that scarf.
This? Oh, I've had it for years. Would you like to have it?
Really?
Really.
I couldn't take it.
It would make me very happy if you kept it.
I don't know.
Please don't be angry with the child. It was my fault we were speaking. I gave that to Emma.
I'm sure you meant well by giving her this, but she can't accept it.
Fine. Then you wear it. A little color would do you good.
Yes.
Look!
What is this?
It's from your patient, Mrs. Trowbridge. She was outside talking to Emma.
I will see to it that she gets it back.
I don't understand why you allow these crazy people into your house.
Jenny, there are no crazy
Sometimes I think you prefer the unbalanced people to the healthy ones. I can't believe Mrs. Hatcher would have approved of the likes of them being exposed
Jenny! You know I couldn't get along without you. You are invaluable to this household, but your job is to oversee this house and not my life. I have chosen to work here so that I can be closer to Emma, and I think that Mrs. Hattrick would more than approve.
I was only thinking of Emma.
You were thinking of yourself, too.
Sandy, you haven't heard a word I've said.
I'm sorry.
Is everything all right?
My mind is wandering in all directions. I'm even getting careless at work.
What's wrong?
I missed a very important appointment today.
Just relax.
I don't know how to do that. How do you just relax?
Here, kiss me as gently as you possibly can. Hardly touch me. You see, that was nice. Everything is going to turn out just fine.
Did you have a good day at school?
Uh-huh.
Rindy's mother telephoned. She said she'd bring you home from class tomorrow.
Okay.
Emma, I asked you not to cry in the parlor. Emma, do you hear me, young lady? What's the matter?
I don't feel right.
You're white as a sheet. You're burning up. Why didn't you tell me you didn't feel well?
I didn't want to have to go to bed.
Tell me where it hurts.
Sometimes my head and my chest.
Sometimes you mean you haven't been feeling well for a while.
Usually it goes away, but I felt awful in school today, and now I don't feel right either.
It's all right, Emma. You have to go to bed now. Come on.
Many people are rolling on an ant heap, being attacked by ants. The dreamer, in a panic, falls into a river.
Is there a location for the dream? Is it in a familiar place?
No, it's not really in a specific place, somewhere in Europe.
How old is the dreamer? Is it a man or a woman?
Just tell me what you make of the dream.
What the hell is this, Charles? 20 questions?
It's important for me to know what you can deduce from these dreams.
Don't you see the absurdity of this conversation? Here we are, discussing someone's nightmare. It's ridiculous.
Emma's ill.
I'm sorry, if I'd known I would.
It's all right. One day, you're a husband, a father, a friend, and of course an almighty doctor. For so long you think you're in control, and then here I am giving advice to you. That's a good one. I'm the one who doesn't know what to do anymore. I don't know where to put the anger and the hurt.
You pay someone to receive it. I think it's called therapy.
Thank you, Sam.
Come on, get out of there.
I'm sick and I have to stay in bed.
You've been sick forever. Aren't you tired of being sick?
Yes. I wish I could go to dance class.
It's not much fun without you. What's it like being sick?
I'm sort of tired all the time. Jenny says if I rest enough, I'll get better real soon.
Boy, I hate rest.
What are you doing? Get off that bed, young lady. Rindy, you know Emma is sick.
I'm tired of being sick.
How about I read you a story? Emma, pick the one you want. The King and the Spirit. Once upon a time, there lived a wise and honorable king who sat daily upon his throne, dispensing favors and justice. Every day for 10 years, a holy man in the dress of a beggar arrived.
Oh, just king, there is a spirit that needs to be freed. Only you can perform that act of magic in the great burial ground.
And so, the next morning,
Hello, Dr. Hattrick.
look who's here.
Hello, ladies.
Hi, Daddy.
How are you feeling, Em?
Okay.
Good. Rindy, it's time for you to go home for supper.
Bye,
Bye, Rindy. Daddy, how come I can't get out of bed?
Well, you have to save your energy, so you can focus on getting better.
I do, Daddy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You're not doing anything wrong, sweetie. Emma, is there anything you want to talk about?
What do you mean?
I know sometimes it may have seemed that I was rather too busy or really not interested.
Daddy,
What?
don't be sad. Why don't you believe in heaven?
It's not that I don't believe in heaven. It's just that there's no evidence that such a place exists.
Well, I believe in heaven. One day, I'm going to see Mommy there.
You're probably right about heaven. You're right about a lot of things, Emma. Thank you.
Would you finish reading me a story?
Of course. Show me where. And the next morning, the king took his sword and met the beggar at the burial ground. The spirit posed a riddle, and the king answered it. But the answer was wrong. Over and over again this happened until finally the king, exhausted, replied,
I have no more answers for you. All of my royal knowledge is of no use. I don't have all the answers to all the riddles of the world.
You now understand the limitations of your earthly knowledge.
And from that day forth, he knew no matter how great his knowledge, there would always be riddles beyond his grasp. And the experience left him strong and whole, full of wisdom, and transformed.
Look at me. I'm shaking like a leaf.
Tell me what happened.
I didn't want to come at this time of night.
It's quite all right. Now, please, tell me what happened.
It started last night. I had the most dreadful dream.
Can you recall this dream?
I had this beautiful doll in my possession. Everybody wanted this doll, but I refused to relinquish it. Suddenly, it disappeared from my arms.
Did this doll recall any particular image?
No, not really.
Was it a boy or a girl?
A girl.
And did you have the same dream tonight?
It was similar. But this time, you wrested the child from my arms. I woke in a panic.
And the doll had no familiar appearance.
It's so very late. I didn't want to keep you up at this time.
You sit down! And who did the doll look like?
Well,
Yes, tell me.
the doll resembled your daughter. I didn't want to bring it up as I heard she was very ill.
I understand.
I'm so sorry.
I appreciate that. When you were recalling the dream, you said that I wrested the child from your arms.
What?
You used the word child and not doll. Have you ever wanted a child, Mrs. Stroubridge?
Yes, I suppose so. Really, I've taken up enough of your time with this whole
Are you able to conceive a child?
I can't.
How do you know that?
I know I can't.
Why?
I hurt myself a long time ago. I don't want to talk about it.
Was it the young man who used to work for your father?
Who?
You spoke once about a young man who worked for your father.
No, I don't.
Why don't you?
I'm scared.
We're all scared. Describe the young man for me, please.
He was the most beautiful man I've ever seen. Tall, blonde. I wasn't a pretty girl. Boys never paid attention to me. William came by the house one day to bring something from the factory. We smiled at one another, and then he drove off. And that night, I happened to look out my window, and I saw him sitting across the street. Night after night the same. Finally, one evening, I snuck out. It just felt so natural. He made me feel so wonderful. I'd never been happier. It continued whenever I could escape. I loved him. Then my body began to change. Sickness in the morning. Mama heard me ill and insisted I see a doctor. Mama fell to pieces. She couldn't cope. Papa became a crazy man. I was forbidden to leave the house. At night, I would look out my window, but William was never there. Father saw to that.
What of the child?
There was a terrible row. Mama, Papa, and me all screaming at each other in the library. I completely lost control. I guess I thought if I could change my circumstances, I could go back. Go back to how it was. I ran to my room, and I locked myself in. And with my fist, I began to beat myself. I felt no pain as I pounded my stomach with all the force I could. Yes, I beat myself until... How could they have done that to me? How could I have done that to them?
Dear Charles, your news of Emma's illness came as a great shock. I am so very sorry. Of course, our discussions of her dreams adds an eerie light to this dark news. I can only hope that this illness will be detoured from its seemingly inevitable course. Separation from a loved one is a silence that cannot be touched. Life holds for us both meaning and meaninglessness. We must have faith that the former will predominate. You wish you could feel less. Unfortunately, to do so is to simply bury the moment, the result of which is another kind of death.
Daddy,
Emma. Once upon a time, swarms of gnats covered the sun, the moon, and all the stars in the sky except one. And this star fell from the sky and landed on a pretty little dream.